கொடுத்துட்டேன். இது ஒன்றும் இல்லை தம்பி. போயிட்டு லாக் பண்ணணும். அதனால தான் ஒரு தடவை நம்ம இந்த ஸ்கிரீன் நைட்டு தோணுச்சு, இப்போ லாக் பண்ணிட்டேன். இப்போ இங்கே மாத்திரை அங்கே ஏதாவது மாறுதா? லைவ் கொடுத்துருந்தேன் உங்களுக்கு வந்துச்சு. இப்போ விண்டோ லாக் பண்ணிட்டேன் அப்படின்னா நான் வேற ஏதாவது வேலை இருந்தா பார்க்கலாம்ல. மாறுதான்னு பாருங்க. மாறாது எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு. மாறுதா? இதை லாக் பண்ணணும். லாக் பண்ணாம மற்ற நாள் விட்டுட்டு ப்ரௌசர் மாறுதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு நம்ம விண்டோ மாறுதுன்னு சொல்லிட்டு வேற வேலை பார்க்காம அவங்ககிட்டயே உட்காந்து பேசுறது மட்டும் கேட்கும். மைக்கை மட்டும் எப்படி ஆஃப் பண்ணணும்? தம்பி வெள்ளிக்கிழமை யூனிவர்சிட்டியில அந்த நம்ம இப்போ போகணும். மேம் வந்து அந்த லேப்டாப் கேட்குறோம். நான் ஏன் லேப்டாப் தரேன் சொல்லியிருக்கேன். என்னன்னா லேப்டாப் நார்மல் லேப்டாப். இது வந்து HDMI போட்டு நார்மல் போட்டு.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Oh, that's right. Nice, sir. Thank you.
Shall we start, sir?
Yeah. We can start. I'm fine.
Okay, sir. Yeah, very good morning to everyone. We will start the second day of the Faculty Development Program on empowering education. Values with the quote, "The mind without educating the heart is no education at all." Now, I'm pleased to introduce today's Chief Guest of Honor, Dr.K.Balasubramanian, retired Professor of English, Manonmaniam Sundaranar University, Thirunelveli. He had his schooling and collegiate education in Dindigul and Palayamkottai. After doing his MA from St. John's College, Palayamkottai, he started his teaching career in GTN Arts College, Dindigul. He served in GTN College for about 18 years before switching over to Manonmaniam service in the year 2006 teaching career. All through his career, he was interested in teaching and research equally. He believed more in classroom teaching and had the privilege of successfully guiding more than 30 research scholars for their award of PhD. His areas of interest include literature, English language teaching in general, and English phonetics in particular. Apart from teaching and research, he was on the administrative side of Manonmaniam Sundaranar University as well. He was a member of syndicate, coordinator of NSS, and dean of the College Development Council of Manonmaniam Sundaranar University. As a teacher, he was advocated for imperative need of classroom teaching, and all through his career, he was interested in the developed country. I'm really feeling proud and honored to introduce such welcome him for his knowledge and experience in ethical education. Sir, welcome, sir. Now the platform is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sumitra. My voice is a little bit less, but am I audible to all friends?
Yes, sir. Your voice is clear.
Okay. Thank you very much. And well, it's very interesting to go online expressing views to scholars and friends. I'm an old-timer, interested always in one-to-one contact in classrooms. However, times have changed that the people have become so advanced that they depend upon programs of this kind. And that way, I also join you, though I am very, very old. Old is my age, but I somehow keep myself alive by talking to people and all. Well, and two colleges are here, Saurashtra College, Madurai, and Sitalakshmi College for women at Palau. Wonderful. Now, my association with Saurashtra College dates back to my elder brother, Professor Balakrishnan, who was principal of the college long back. However, I remember him with fond thoughts about him as a teacher, as a friend, who used to call me Tambi, like that. Wonderful. That's about that. Sita Lakshmi, wonderful. Palatu College also has been a very wonderful college all these years. And I'm happy to remember the colleagues there in both the colleges and the participants of this faculty development program. One of the important areas for development of an individual is such programs. And I happily, fondly remember Dr. Sumitra, in particular, for making this program possible for me also. Usually, elderly people are forgotten by young people. It's a common observation. I don't remember. I don't remind anyone. I don't refer to anyone. However, some people do remember the elderly to be with them, to share their views. I don't say that all elderly people have great knowledge and all. We are very ordinary people who have lived earlier and who are still living, with the people. And that way, and I'm very happy that both these colleges have decided to allow this conference on ethical standards. Ethics is a very big question. Very big question at present. In the scenario that we see in the world, namely with the people and all, ethics is a far-reaching ideology for many. However, we have to consider, we have to remember, we have to follow the ethical standards which are demanding in our profession. Now, man has developed a lot, wonderfully developed. For me, I am 73. When I just retraced my growth, I started my career 50 years before. Okay, and it was wonderful. I was a clean slate when I joined my profession as a tutor in English in Bindikal GTN Arts College. In fact, GTN Arts College, my learning ground where I learned not only about my career, but also about myself as a person, how I should be with the students. That is where ethical standards come. In fact, I would proudly say that I learned all ethics, if I have any, from GTN Arts College. That way, I'm very happy to associate myself with this program. Of course, many people will be talking. So many people have ideas, and all the ideas will be coming out in programs of this kind. And after all, man has to talk to man. That is very important. Problem with most of the men, I include women also, most of the people is that we are far away from humankind. we somehow or other, we consider that we must be away from each other. Whether we travel in a train for about 10 hours, or we fly in an aircraft for 3 to 5 hours, we are very reserved, very reserved. That's one of the characteristics deciding the ethics of people. Of course, I would share one of my experiences. Namely, I was flying from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to New Delhi in a Etihad aircraft. My neighbor was a Chinese uh, traveler, an engineer, a girl. Okay, and the girl was sitting quiet without talking to me. And after about 3 hours of flight, I asked her, "Hello, how are you?" She was actually afraid to talk to me. Afraid. This is the fear psychosis that has set into the minds of the people, which we will have to come out. Afterwards, when I talked to her, the girl said, the engineer said that, Professor, we Chinese do not have more English. This is their handicap. If only we know English like Indians, I'm just quoting her words, we will rule the world. Otherwise, even now we know that they're ruling the world in one way or another. It is what is the greatness of a linking language. Of course, this program also many people will be listening to, and naturally they would have opinions on everything, like the Chinese girl. And everybody can act, react, and at the same time, there are two ambits. Namely, either you can be proactive or reactive on a given situation. If all of us are proactive, I think everything will be possibly going. If you are reactive, there comes the rub. Questions, answers. From the answers, questions. From the questions, answers. Like that, it will go, and finally, there will be a kind of a mess. And that is why, we should think in such a way that we take people as they are. There's a problem with the people. Supposing I look at a person, supposing I express a few things with a person, immediately I decide. And when I decide, my activities become either proactive or reactive. There is the problem. That is where the classroom situation comes. That is where education comes. Education is a larger phenomenon, a very great phenomenon. We can't simply say that education is this or that. And I just in my course of lecture, I would refer to all those things. And I was, when Dr. Sumitra asked me, "Sir, what will you talk on?" I just gave her, asked her for a day. At that time, I was away in another city on another program. However, the same evening, I just expressed, I will talk on the shift. Wonderful paradigm teaching is, and that teaching, that paradigm has changed so much, so much. Say, for example, I'm not coming to the point that, we should talk about Gurukul method and all. No, Gurukul is over. If we consider 50 years of experience as a teacher, or before me, my teachers, if I talk about my teachers, that's an amazing experience. That is why I said I would talk on paradigm shift, and I would reminisce on the past, the present, and future, and all the dimensions we see. Well, that's why I gave the paradigm shift in teaching profession, past, present, and future dimensions. Well, it's great to be a teacher, and I'm completing my 50th year in a couple of months, and God is a teacher. Not only in India, but also in a few countries. And to remember my students all the while is an amazing experience. It's an amazing experience. And that is where really the teacher's personality comes in. And when the teacher's personality is there, the student also has a greater personality. Okay, see, look at the point of view that without the students, the teachers are nothing, and without the teachers, the students are nothing. That is the basic parameter. But the problem is the teacher thinks no end of himself. The teacher thinks just because he is an MA or a PhD, he or she thinks that he or she is beyond everything. Nobody is beyond everything. After all, there are certain characteristics, qualities you will have to develop as a young student and as a young teacher and as an elderly teacher as well. Namely, these two characteristics are expounded by one of the Australian novelists. I think most of you would be knowing Patrick White. Patrick White. He would say humility and simplicity. Humility and simplicity are the basic virtues of man. See, look at the words that Patrick White said. Humility and simplicity are the basic virtues of mankind. Mankind, all of us, every one of us should have this characteristic, namely simplicity and humility. Of that, our own Thirunelveli has already said 2000 years before, பணியுமாம் பெருமை என்றும் சிறுமை அணியுமாம் தனைவி என்று. Look at the words Thirunelveli has used. பணியுமாம் பெருமை என்றும் சிறுமை அணியுமாம் தனைவி என்று. For example, for those people who are non-speakers of Tamil, I would say, the same views Patrick White expressed, simplicity and humility. These two virtues will upgrade you, will take you up always. And now, when we remember, when we talk of teachers, when we talk of teaching, I remember a wonderful activist and a wonderful writer in America. Of course, all of us know Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou is a big activist, a wonderful activist in America. And in 2 lines, totally 8 words, just like our Tirukkural, she has given what we are as teachers, what our teaching is. I'll read her words, Maya Angelou's words. If you get, give. If you learn, teach. See the 8 words. If you get, give. For example, when you have a lot more than what you need, you can share it with the people. The problem is, it's otherwise with all of us, we store and store and store, but we partake of our share with the people to a limited extent only. That is what Maya Angelou emphasizes, namely, if you get, give. And if you learn, teach. But see, that is what is the greatness of a teacher. That is what is the greatness of teaching. Namely, if you learn, teach. Even a young boy, a girl can be a teacher. So, for example, just now, a couple of weeks back, I was reading online, namely, a 22-year-old boy is a professor in some IIT who became a lecturer when he was a 7-year-old boy. It's amazing, something is there with man, and there comes the reality. Namely, when we talk about man, man's brain comes. You can't just simply dismiss man's brain. In the scenario of advanced technology. We are advanced so much. No second opinion about we are advanced. But at the same time, our advancement has been possible because of your brain, man's brain. Somebody has used his or her brain so that we are advanced. That is the reality. Who is advanced? So Albert Einstein, okay? So many people. Well, one of the examples is Einstein. Albert Einstein, yes, we know, is great. He's a wonderful person, a scientist and all. Even he himself told, the more you get advanced in your technology, it becomes and secondary. When your brain becomes secondary, he talks a big word. When your brain becomes secondary, there will be idiots around us. That is where comes the question of using everything positively, proactively for our advantage. That's the point of it. Say, for example, man has been away from mankind at one level, but at the same time, man has been away from God also at the second level. This Vibhuti and all, my recent finding. Say, for example, 20 years. Since 2004, I have been like this. Before that, I was talking ideologies of the then present. And now only we must remember our greatest people, very great people. And say, for example, talk about our own Vivekananda. Vivekananda very happily said, if I have 100 committed young people, I will change India. That comes the question of power. Vivekananda was powerful at that time when he was saying these words. But he did not have the 100 people he was aspiring to take. He was not able to take 100 people. But even now, every teacher is trying to take 100 students to his or her fold. That comes the power. That is what one of the philosophers, namely Michel Foucault, would say. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. The more you know, the better you would become. How would you become a person knowing more? Only two or three things. One is to go after knowledge, number one. Number two, to learn. Number three, to teach. When you learn and teach simultaneously, when you learn more and when you teach more, you become a knowledgeable person. That is what Maya Angelou insists on in these words. And that is the mantra for our profession. The mantra. Whatever you learn, you teach. Whatever you know, share with your people. That comes the question of learning. And as I said earlier, education is a greater phenomenon, a larger phenomenon. And larger phenomenon demands changes. The larger phenomenon undergoes changes. Changes are everywhere. And only when you fit in, with the system, you will be able to reach the audience. Our audience is our students. So that's a point of view that, so for example, if you go prepared, your class becomes lively. If you go unprepared, your class becomes otherwise. That is why, look at our own past teaching in our country. Look at our own educational system in our country. We need not bother about what has gone earlier. What we have to do, or what we have to bother about, is how to have our future better. Number one. Number two, how to get our citizens better. That is why in one of the independence speeches, one of the independence addresses, our Prime Minister, the present Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi, said, let us, he refers to the teachers, let us perform, reform, and transform. I think a couple of years back, he said these words. These are all catch expressions, key words for our profession. Namely, let us perform. Every teacher is a performer in a class. Some 12 or 13 years before, there was a conference in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and the theme was a teacher as a performer. Of course, I went to the conference with some of my friends, and the conference was very successful, number one. Number two, I presented a paper on teaching English pronunciation to students as a performer in the class. It was wonderful. That is where comes great people's words. And, well, these words, perform. By your performance, there is reformation. Performance brings in reformation. And your performance and your reformation together will bring transformation in the mindset of the learners. That's the point of view. And I'm using our Prime Minister's words, but I'm using his words for my advantage and for my children's advantage, my students' advantage. I am a performer, I am a reformer, I am a transformer together. That is how my profession goes as a teacher. You get the point? Very good. Am I okay? There was some. All right, no problem. Well,
Yes, sir.
as I said earlier, okay. Because there was some voice noise. Okay. Yes, as I told earlier, I'm an old timer. Maybe breaks would break me, and one such thing is. It's okay. Now, teaching is the oldest profession. You get the point? Teaching is the oldest profession. Of course, we can say this is one of the oldest professions because other professions are there also. For example, war. War is also one of the oldest. See, even now, man is warring with man. You talk about any kind of war taking place anywhere, whether it's First World War or Second World War, or the Ukraine war, or this Palestine Hamas Israel war. All these are wars. All these are for us teachings. Actually, such wars are related to our profession as well. Only when you have not learned properly, you become a warring person. Of course, misunderstanding is everywhere. I misunderstand. My misunderstanding will go only for maximum half an hour. I remember in Thirunelveli, when I was giving a lecture like this, in person, and there were about some 300 or 400 students. one of wherever we go, the girl students only are more responsive. One of the girl students asked me, Professor, I have a question. Okay, come on. And the question was, Professor, you seem to be very cheerful. Of course, this was about 15 years before when I was serving in Manonmaniam. You seem to be cheerful. Are you the same with your wife also? This was a very scathing question, and I told her the truth. My anger, my problem with my wife will persist till I need the next cup of coffee. When I need a next cup of coffee, I remember those days, Now that we are elderly people, that we adjust. Okay? When I need coffee, I just call her, please give me a cup of coffee. That is what is anger. Anger should persist only to that level. At one level, it should be stopped. It should be stopped. But it's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's not that easy to stop our anger. But we have to train ourselves, number one. And when we train ourselves, we might perform and we might reform and we might transform also. That is given to our individual right and might. So that is where the question, teaching is one of the oldest professions. In fact, the mother is the first teacher for a learner. Remember? I remember my mother. I remember my mother, very fondly. Of course, she's not living. She passed away, a decade and a half back. But she was my teacher. Started her teaching to me in such a way that I learned things slowly, very slowly, but gradually. And I remember the day when she took me to the school and put me there. And, well, amazing. For half an hour or so, I remember as a 5-year-old boy, those days when we were learners, we were put in the school when we were 5 or 6-year-old. Now, our present day mothers, I would tell the mothers are responsible and fathers accept what the mothers tell, namely at 2.5. At 2.5, learning starts for a child. See, if a child is sent to school when she or he is 2.5, the teacher there, what would she do? You can imagine. And that is why, I saw them. I saw such teachers doing their work. And so I wanted to be an elementary school teacher. It's amazing, elementary school teachers are doing their job so nicely, feeding the children, teaching something, and taking care of the children when they are sleeping. It is a primary school teacher. All these LKG, I saw. Now these, educated are so pre-KG, for which they want about 80,000 rupees fees. Pre-KG, LKG, UKG, then first standard. When the student becomes, when the child becomes 6 or 5, first standard. That is what is education. That is where the mother has to be a teacher for the child. If the mother teaches for 2.5 years, and when the child goes to the school at 5 or 6, teaching becomes different. But our mothers, I reserve my comments, And well, of course, somehow or other, I of course, my daughter and her husband also were in tune with each other that they are sending their second child to school at 5. That's good. But home. And that is where the crux is. That is where the problem also is. And the children at a young age, when they become independent, they begin to oppose the system, oppose the parents, oppose the teachers. That is why there are problems on all the three system, parents. Uh, how could you tolerate a young boy who knows nothing, who is a zero, who is a zero, who is a zero, taking a knife and killing a teacher? Now, as an elderly person, I look at all these things with wonderful the ideology that is set in their mind. I was a bad teacher. My children behave like this. If I had been a good teacher, my students would have been better. That is where programs of this kind become predominant, eminent. And we are coming to that, And as I said, professions are there. Professions are many. And all the professions are undergoing changes also. Things are, how can you say that man has not changed? Man has changed a lot, excellently well. The technology has taken man to the next level of performance, reformation, and transformation. We are totally transformed citizens as of now that we are able to accept because we are able to understand. We understand the technology. We use the technology for our growth. But I can't even. Imagine Balasubramanian, an old timer, using a modern technology like this. Going online like this, thanks to COVID. COVID has brought in so many debacles, and one such is this online also. But here also, as I said earlier, we become proactive. We don't go reactive. If we go reactive, we will not be able to use this one. We will not be able to use this one. We are proactive, and that is why we accept this system and we undergo changes, and these changes are systemic in nature. And without these changes, nothing is possible for us. And that is why we are going up. When we talk about mother, the first teacher, we might ask a question: who is the first mother? If we accept the Christian concept, okay, Eve is the first mother. Let her be the first mother who mothers. And if we take our own Indian Gurukula system, the teacher is predominant. The teacher is preeminent. Of course, I don't mean that what is this? The Gurukul system must be brought in. Whatever is good for both the students and the teachers should be brought in. Should be brought in. That is where comes learning. Whether a student at 5-year-old boy, or a teacher at 22. I remember I started my career at 22. At 22, I remember my teachers. I get wonderful teachers. Wonderful teachers. I would very, very gratefully remember Professor Perisoni in the Medical GT and Arts College. Oh God, he's a godhead. And I remember the day I joined the department, he took me to the library of the college. Hi, Balu. Of course, I was his old student. I did my BA in medical, and then after my MA from St. John's Palayankota, I joined the college. He took to the library and he showed 3 or 4 rows of books. He ordered me. He didn't tell me. He ordered me. I give you 1 year time, Balu. All these 4 rows of books should be studied. He didn't say should be read, should be studied. Charles Dickens. Okay? Oh, wonderful. Thomas Hardy. Thackeray. Okay? Ernest Hemingway. These were the 4, rows of books I read. I remember my days of reading Thomas Hardy's Tess of the D'Urbervilles and Jude the Obscure. Because I am a teacher of English language, I take the examples from literature also. Okay? Tess of the D'Urbervilles, oh God, the girl who undergoes trauma. And likewise, Jude the Obscure. Like these books were introduced to me by my teacher after I became a tutor in English in my college. Because those days, at present, after I'm just telling my example from my own experience, because it's easier for me. Those days, there was a post by name tutor in English, demonstrate in chemistry, physics. The kind of the job for a tutor. You must know. My young colleagues should know. I was a tutor for 3 years. 3 years. And in the 3 years, my work was to check, to evaluate 10 notebooks where the students would have written compositions. I will have to go, read, check, and give the marks and teach them grammar in their classes weekly 2 days. Weekly 2 days. I could go to a class only weekly 2 days to teach this English grammar. And this is where I learned grammar. Because, grammar somehow or other is away from most of the teachers. Because, we have given more importance to spoken English past. Okay? In the present, our children speak very good English. Very good English. Future, we don't know. That is what is the point of view that, And I would remember Carl Sagan, an American planetary scientist, who tells very nicely, our passion for learning is the tool for our survival. For example, now the big question is for all of us, namely survival. Survive. How to survive in this world? World is too much with us. World tests us. World examines us. And you have to pass through all these examinations and come out successfully. And to come out successfully from any program is not that easy. It's not that easy. It's very difficult, and you will have to undergo the trauma of learning, and that is what Carl Sagan says. Learning is the tool for us, for our survival, and that alone will give you knowledge. And that was what was emphasized by Michel Foucault and Vivekananda. Namely, knowledge is power by Foucault, and knowledge should be used by Vivekananda. The world is so related to one another. We are all, at some point or other, related to each other so well, knit together, that we can reach everybody so nicely when time comes or when necessity comes. So, for example, we can't be just keeping quiet by saying that, I have got knowledge. My knowledge is enough. Can anyone tell at any point? Can anyone tell at any point that my knowledge is complete? I have learned everything. I see some young people telling that. I get to know a few people, and they say, come on, what are you doing? Ask a question, and the answer is, I have finished studies. This expression comes, I have finished studies. The person tells, I have finished 11th standard. I have finished 12th standard. 12th standard is knowledge for him or her, is her studies. Education is never ending. Studies, we will have to, even at this age, I'm reading, I'm studying. For example, I recently I was in Delhi for a program. I got a book, and that book was written by a young professor in a university. She presented that book with me. Appa, this is a present for you. I've been reading that book. I've been at it. But we have to. That is what Carl Sagan emphasizes. We have to learn all through our life. That is the point of view which brings us to a concept. It's a kind of a triad, a tripod, namely learning, teaching, and research. See, learning at a young level, at a young age. Say, for example, 6 to 22nd age, I was learning. At 22nd, I became a teacher. My teacher told me, your learning has not stopped, my boy. Your learning really starts when your teaching starts. When your teaching career starts, your learning starts. It goes on. Research, a very big phenomenon. I will come to that later. I have still time. Okay? I have still half an hour or so to talk to you. Are you bored? If so, you can just check me at one point and ask if excuse me? Well, learning is a very comprehensive point of view. And learning, school learning is enjoyment. Very good enjoyment, we learn. And collegiate learning, very serious. Those boys who were playful would suddenly, a percentage of them, some or otherwise, I'm not coming to those people everywhere. The other would be always there. Some people become very serious and they go up in life. And that is where comes the question of higher education. Higher education is the platform where we all are involved in our colleges. Higher education. Higher education concept is a very big concept. And there's a report, I can refer so many reports. Kothari report and all these things are there. There is a report by Robinson, known as Robinson Committee Report. And in that report, higher education is visualized. Beautiful. I am a practitioner of that Robinson Committee report. Namely, what is it? Higher education revolves around two concepts: teaching and research. Teaching 50%, research 50%. You get the point? Teaching 50%. You will have to go to the class at any cost, in all levels. Meet the students, talk to them, teach them. By teaching, learn from them. Get the point? Teaching 50%, research is 50%. And in that also, the report tells, out of 50%, 25% is individual research, 25% is guidance. I would insist on my young friends to carefully understand this and accept this point of view. Namely, 50% teaching only. Teaching only. I see in many universities, teachers not going to the classes at all in the name of research and asking their research scholars to go to the class. But the tragedy is they are getting their salary for the work done by their scholars. Get the point? Get the point? It's very bad. It's very bad, And but research is totally different. But 25% only is yours. Okay? 25% is guidance. You will have to guide your scholars. Only then they can become greater scholars, greater researchers. Of course, when I talk of research, I remember my teacher, my guru, who was my research guide, Professor Ramamurthy of Madurai Kamaraj University. A wonderful human being, a wonderful human being, a wonderful teacher, a wonderful practitioner of ethics. I was not a good researcher in the beginning. I'm just sharing this because those researchers who are here should learn the habit. My teacher, my guru, my research supervisor approved every 10 pages of my research thesis. Okay, it's good. Okay, it's good. No, mother, no, change it. That is what is research. That is what is the comprehensive phenomenon of higher education, namely learning, teaching, research. If any teacher tells, I have stopped learning, he is no longer a teacher. He is no longer a researcher. If any teacher says that he is not doing research, he is not a learner at all. So that is where all the three issues go together comprehensively to make the personality a teacher is. And what? That's what is the learning, teaching, and research. And any, as I said, a teacher has to undergo the changes just like mankind advances, just like a teaching profession advances. And as I earlier told that, the Sundar Pichai of Madurai has done wonders that without their chat GPT or another big ideology, AI, artificial intelligence, without these, our teaching becomes otherwise. That's why in the present days, many young learners and students think the teacher is a superlative phenomenon, superficial phenomenon. That's on the point of view. Everywhere, the teacher has to become phenomenal by getting students into your phenomenal ideologies as a teacher. That is where the originality of a teacher lies. For example, we can here talk anything and everything for an hour or an hour and a half. But in a classroom, the teacher alone is the model. Teacher alone is the moderator. The teacher alone is the doer of everything. Doer of everything. And the learners will go in line with the teacher's phenomenal position. And for that, you will have to go up in your echelons. You are given a ladder. You are given a ladder. And can you just look at the ladder and can you talk some theoretical construct on going on to the ladder? No, You will have to get onto the ladder and go up and up and up. Okay? That is where comes so many programs. I remember when I was a beginner, when I was a learner, I was introduced to Central Institute of English and Foreign Languages, Hyderabad, which is now FLU. Those days, CIEFL. I wanted to do my PhD there, but I couldn't go for so many reasons, But I did two courses. One is PGCTE, and the other is PGTTE, Certificate and Diploma. Both the courses are correspondence courses, but they will take you for 2 months individually for each course, and you will be there either in Hyderabad or some other places allocated to you. And wonderful days. You will learn from your teachers excellent things. That has been my source of inspiration, that I still am a teacher at present. I remember my professor T.Balasubramanian, TBS, who wrote, we call him TBS, okay, who wrote a book on An Introduction to English Phonetics. That's the only one book he has written. That's the only one book he has written. But that book is prescribed in the United States of America for phonetics paper. In India, many universities. I followed that book. It's an excellent book. Likewise, Professor Krishnaswamy of CFL, okay? Professor Subramanian of CFL, and Professor Francis Soundararaj, my teacher in St. John's College, Palankote, who was my head of the department, very humane person. He passed away a couple of years back in Chennai. Such great teachers are the gamut of learning. And in our own places, Professor Chelapan also passed away recently. All great people are passing away. And the time has come that people pass away, giving the baton to the younger generation, to you participants. You would love to become like Professor Chelapan, Professor Francis Soundararaj, Professor K.Balasubramanian. Why not? You can, provided your path is positive. Your path takes you to some other proper places, okay? That is where comes the question of all these advancements. Advancements are there, available everywhere. For us, we had, because, we were, that was the time, 80s or so, seminars, conferences were heard of. Of course, we couldn't attend, senior people would go. I was a very, very, very junior most in the department, We couldn't have the opportunities to attend seminars and conferences. Now, the stage, okay, we have improved. From the past, we have come to the present, and the future is there for all of you. Okay, and in the present, seminars, conferences, workshops are in plenty to all of you. You will love to. You must make the point that you should attend minimum one international conference, one national conference, one workshop. Okay, one seminar. Like this year should be, planned, and at the same time, there comes a very big phenomenon at present. There also comes the question of ethics. What is that? That is publication. Publication. That's a very, very, very big issue. Now, in my time, publication was limited for the people. Was limited for the people. And at present, anybody, if you ask, he or she tells, I have published 300 papers. I was shocked to come to know that. And one of the teachers I checked. Of course, when I was in Manonmaniam, I was on the research committee. I had to go through the papers. A person belonging to science department, that habit has come to arts and humanities as well. Namely, that person has written 3 papers by himself. 297 papers are his students' papers. The student has worked, toiled, has written the paper, and he becomes the second author. And the second author claims that I have written the paper. He has not written the paper at all. How can he claim that he has written the paper? The paper was written by the student. The student, very magnanimously, very munificently, they allow the student to have the first name, the teacher second name. As I told in the beginning itself, I am an old timer. I am not able to approve of this phenomenon. If you have written by yourself 100 papers, hats off, salam, okay, to you. But you should not claim. My dear friends, this is for open-ended discussion only, and this I consider a very valid point in the learning and teaching of ethics. That is why I brought in this point of view. Okay, and now you will have to learn a lot, and to learn, what do you do? What do you do? What do we teachers do to learn? I tell you, 50% of us are going for Googling or learning from Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not 100% perfect. Remember that. Maybe 50% perfect. Remaining 50%, they have got or they have caught from somebody who has no proactive ideology, only reactive ideology, and that he gives to Wikipedia people, and they give to all of us. So we need not depend upon, we should not depend upon these technological advancements. But to a certain extent, at the minimum level, you can refer to. Not at the maximum. Where do you get maximum level of knowledge that Foucault refers to or Vivekananda refers to? Only in one place. Only in one place. Libraries. Just let us just retrace our own past. How many of us are in the habit of going to the libraries every day? That's a big question mark. I remember my past. To read one book, I went to Hyderabad. I was staying in American Studies Research Center for 1 month to read that one book for my research work. Otherwise, my guide would, what, Bolu? Finished. Book the ticket to Hyderabad, go there, stay there, read, make it yours, come back, finish your work. That was the time. That's what is the point of view. The times have now changed. That is why we depend largely upon this technology. And as a friend, as a senior, for many of you, I am a father figure only, As a father figure, I would request you to spend at least an hour a day in the library. In some library, in your college library or your personal library, okay? Or a library when you go out. Say, for example, other people can go to Skillet. Wonderful, go. Your own college library, Professor Balakrishnan has developed the library so well. Go there and work there, read some book, okay? It's wonderful. So library is the place where we have to derive, gain our knowledge. Okay, that's no. I'm just telling you all these things. Because I have faith in the younger generation. I have faith in the younger generation, and the younger generation are very prolific in their habits, that they will learn this and they will look into practice this. And what is the ideology behind every teacher? Every teacher, and for me, I also do have the same ideology. Okay, and that is the point of view of teaching and research together. Okay, every teacher should imbibe the spirit of learning, teaching, and research. You should never say that you have learned everything. You should never say that you have stopped teaching, and you should never say that you have stopped doing research, because all the three are interconnected with each other. Each depends on the other. Without one, there is the absence of the other. Okay, so look at the scenario. Can you ever say? Can you give a lecture just like that on any topic? Well, 10 days back, Sumitra put the idea in my mind. 10 days I've been working. Whenever I get time, I go to my personal library to take my books, go through. Okay, of course. I just have stored some ideas in my notes section. I read that again. About 10 or 15 lectures, I just read again. I use some of the ideas there, and I collectively bring in a paper or a lecture for Saurashtra College, Saurashtra Siddhalakshmi Arts College. Wonderful. This is how I was able to just look at my work as a teacher. And, as a matter of fact, I would always be happy if participants interact with the so-called expert. I'm not an expert. It's the love of Sumitra that she asked me can you talk to our people? And I accepted immediately, because she's almost my child. Everybody is, for that matter. That is why I am here. And I would wind up my session with an important what do I say? Idea. Okay? We have learned. Teachers. You're doing research. Excellent. And maybe subject teachers also are there, or maybe they're in this group. Say, my view is, my idea is, our mother tongue is great, no doubt about that. I love my mother tongue. But I would tell in Tamil enakku kalam. Okay? But at the same time, I cannot leave English. How can I? The problem with our people is, generally with the Indians, and particularly in Tamil Nadu, we don't give importance to English. We don't give importance to English. Have we given importance to English? Our learners should have been wonderful. I've seen in many interviews for colleges, selection committees. I've been a member of selection committees across the country, and I am disturbed to see people and their English and their knowledge. That is where come programs of this kind. Namely, you have to derive knowledge. And but somehow or other, the Britishers, used their language so nicely, so accommodatively, okay, so wonderfully that they are ruling the world now. All books, all great journals, magazines, when they are in English. People have to know that. Only then we'll be able to understand all these things. That is why. So, for example, I would say my English language teachers to spend time with our learners. I say I would refer to the weak learners. Weak learners. Spend some time with them in the evening hours. You don't think that I am boasting? That's what we did when we became teachers at 22. At 22 evening, when the college was over by 3:45, we used to meet students, interested learners only, at 4 o'clock up to 4:45. Then they will run away. We used to tell them something in English grammar. We would try to make them speak in English. I was when I finished my BA and when I reached St. John's College, Palayamkote, my written communication was good. My spoken communication was horrible. I was not able to speak at all. Remember, I was not able to speak at all at 20 when I went to St. John's College, Palayamkote, and my teachers made the difference. I looked at them, of course, already my teachers had done something that I had developed my written skill and I developed my spoken skill there. And I've been trying to develop my spoken skill even now, even now. And maybe at some time, someday or other, I would tell my children and my friends that maybe I would say on my deathbed that I know something. Till then, I am after knowledge, pursuing knowledge. So, thank you very much, my dear friends, Dr. Sumitra, Dr. Vanita, principals, and everybody, and my dear young participants. Thank you very much that you have been listening to me for another or so, more than an hour, I think. God bless you. You can ask a few questions if you do have, and I would be privileged. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Dear participants, if you have any queries or clarification, kindly unmute your mic and ask one by one.
Participants, raise your hands.
Dear participants, raise your hands and ask the questions one by one.
In a friendly way, they can ask any question, no problem. I'm optimistic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Informative and interesting speech. It was really interesting news to hear your association with our former principal of Saurashtra College, with Dr. Balakrishnan. I'm very impressed to hear you calling him as your elder brother. Thank you, sir. I'm really proud to work in that college. As you said, it is your proactive and reactive nature keeps you lively as a teacher up to this moment. You started off by stating that you are elderly, not much in touch with the technology, but you are a treasure house of 50 years of knowledge of teaching. Sir, gold is always gold and always valuable. It is also necessary for us to listen to your views on ethics as teachers. Your speech covered a wide span of anecdotes from Patrick White to Maya Angelou. We will accept your suggestions to be humble and simple in front of our students, and the fact that the teacher should learn before going to teach. Definitely we will follow your suggestions, sir. We will also be performers and reformers to transform the lives of our students, as our Prime Minister Modi said. We will also go home today with the contentment with all the messages that you have shared with us. I think I'm the most privileged person today to thank you for this wonderful session. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. So,
So,
Thank you, ma'am.
okay.
Thank you, sir.
Please
Thank you,
put,
sir.
ma'am. I will be connecting that next YouTube live, ma'am. Please wait.
MP Ganesan, sir.
Yes, madam, I'm here.
MP Ganesan.
Yes, I'm here,
Okay.
madam, I'm here.
Satish sir, shall we start with the next session?
No, ma'am. Please wait. I am connecting for a second session YouTube live, ma'am. It takes
Okay,
2 to 3
okay,
minutes
okay.
for this live streaming.
Yeah, okay, sir. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Please wait.